Hey everyone. Welcome back to Magnet Marketers after we took a week off. As always, we're here to make sure that you become a magnet with your marketing versus being a bullhorn. I'm one of your hosts here. I'm Jessica Phillips with Now Marketing Group and the Relationship Marketing System, making sure that you're focused on building relationships in all you do so you can grow that know, like, and trust relationship with your ideal audience to create a repeat referral business. And my awesome co-host on my left, Mike Gingrich, as always, from Digital Hill, and also a co-founder of Tabsite and I Give Global, where he lives and breathes by the philosophy of always being uncommon and always adding value. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, thank you, Jessica. It's good to be back and in the seat here, talking magnet marketing, and excited for our topic today.
Me too. So last week we took a week off. We are currently at Social Media Week, Lima 2016, talking all this digital goodness to a room full of about 200 plus individuals in our community. And we could not be more pumped to now bring back not only things that our presenters had shared, but things that we are all doing in our own businesses with our clients, talking about integrating your online marketing and how you can do that to benefit your business.
Yes. Yes. All right. So, I mean, from the top level, I think that why this topic is important is because there's too many that are not integrating these days, and they're missing different components. They're focusing in that, but I think that the focus on social media can sometimes do that because it's kind of the learning curve, and so businesses, want to dive in, and they can forget about some of the other components that go into your integrated online marketing presence, just because of the newness and learning curve of social media. And don't get me wrong, it's important, but it can't be it can't be all you do. It can't be solo. Any thoughts?
Exactly. No, I think you are speaking solid truth right here. It is so important to keep all your social media presence updated and try out these new tools. And I'll let you talk about kind of your tips with that, because you said some good things even at the conference that you brought about trying them out, but they may not be right for your business. So I'll let you touch on that. But while you're evolving and keeping these other social media sites alive, you can't forget the sole purpose, which is to build relationships with your customers, one, but two, to drive them back to your home base. So your first and foremost thing that we're always trying to do is get people back to your home base, where you control kind of how the messaging is presented, delivered, and how you can ultimately continue to build the relationships which are on your home base. And that is a lot of times when we're talking online, your website. So as much as your social media evolves, your website should be evolving as well. And that should be the place that you keep the neediest, the tidiest, the most valuable resources right there at your home base, and always driving people back there. So as we're talking about integrating your marketing, we always want to think, where's it ending? What's the end game, the end goal? Where do we need to bring people so we can get to that end game, end goal?
Yes, no, and that's really a great place to start, is the end goal, and then work backwards, kind of work through some of those pieces. And that's if the end goal is a sale or making that, so someone submits that form to contact you on your website, then that's the end goal, and then you want to work backwards to that. And how are you going to do that? And that's that funnel that we're talking about there.
Exactly. So, and ultimately, and our friend April, she was on a couple weeks ago, talks about, your email list, and your end goal for you is always to capture leads. And that could be also gaining email addresses. So not just getting them to the website, we should say creating that contact so you know who that person is. So even once they're on your website, maybe that end game is a step further, maybe before the sale, but getting that email address so you know who that person is and can ultimately build a relationship with them.
Yep. So, I mean, from my standpoint, I like to talk about it as kind of a three-pronged stool. I mean, these are the three pillars that you need to build that online foundation, and that is your website, that is your email marketing, and that is your social media. I think those are the three keys that integrate.
Exactly.
And there's peripheral pieces. You can always do, ads through social media, ads, on the web, that type of thing. Those are bonus points, but those are your three kind of key building blocks that we're talking about in integrated marketing strategy, is making those work together.
Exactly. You have to know who it is you're talking to. And in order to do that, you need that foundation, or as you said, pillars, in order to do that.
Yep. Yep. Okay.
Mhm.
What would you say then is the biggest, well, maybe not the bit, but a mistake that you commonly see when you are approached by clients or you're beginning to talk with them? What's a common mistake within this integration that you see?
I would say first is not having your house in order, which is the website. From there, which we just talked about that, not having the pillars, of course, in place. So you're not collecting email addresses. It's only just a contact us form or subscribe to our newsletter with no information on why someone should subscribe or what the value, what's in it for them, even is in the first place to subscribe to that newsletter. And then also not having a strategy in place in order to have these work seamlessly together. There's no funnel built. There's no, okay, we're going to do this platform because this is going to help us do this. It's not, there's no funnel in place. One, the foundation's not where it needs to be, and that they're not consistent. They'll try out one thing for just a little bit, and if it's not instant gratification, they're moving on to the next thing. So there's never enough momentum that's built up in order to create this well-oiled machine. They're just getting started, kind of turning the wheels, and if they would have just kept going just a little bit longer, then they could have got that momentum to keep it spinning a little bit faster.
Yep.
So they're stopping before they get it going.
Yep. Excellent. Excellent. I think that's a huge thing, is just this stop and go. And I oftentimes there's too many people that, hey, well, we tried that for 2 months and we didn't see anything. We tried, but this is a process, and that process is something that in the bottom of my funnel is part of that is evaluation, and your analytics, and you're testing that. So you're trying to see, so you can make tweaks. It's not that you're just going to get it right right off the bat, that you're going to put something in place, then you have to fine tune it, and you cannot just sit static on that for years to come then, because things change and you're going to have to be ready to adapt and adjust with that.
Yeah, you can't track what you're not measuring. So specifically like that right there, you don't know if something's working or not if you're not even tracking it in the first place. You may be surprised. I'll give a prime example. I just had a meeting this morning with a client, and we creating the resource centers on clients' websites. We talked about that at the conference, about that thing, adding that value, having all these things at your home base that people can get from you easy to start building that value added relationship with them. But we were meeting with them this morning, and they were like, talking about social, and not talking about the website. And I was like, do you realize we've more than tripled your website traffic since we've added this resource center? And here's what we really need to be focused on is adding these extras to the resource center, keep feeding the giant that's winning, the thing that's doing the best for you, keep winning, and feeding that if it's working for you.
Yep.
Oh, we have like the same one.
There it is.
This is ours.
Maybe you want to we can drop your link in. Should we put them up both there? Because
it's fine. I think they're pretty, very, very similar. Ours is a little bit different, but pretty similar.
So
go ahead.
Let's, basically, I think, from a starting point is, and this is kind of our premise with Magnet Marketers, is that you want to draw people in. Okay. So you want to draw them in. You're not just shouting, buy this, but it's the why. And the why comes back to providing value and providing resources. So you already mentioned it, a blog is a resource center. So it comes down to a foundational standpoint that you need to be thinking about, how can you offer value and resourcing? And that starts with your content and your website and the social media content that you're sharing. And let me talk about that from the website standpoint, and then I'll let you talk about it from the social standpoint, 10-4-1, some of those things. Does that sound good?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So from a website standpoint, and I've got the top of the funnel here, my 6 components that I like to talk about are attract, engage, capture, nurture, convert, and measure. Okay. So at attraction, you're trying to talk through what you can do to reach more of the ideal type of person that could become your customer, B2B, B2C, that type of thing. So you want to attract them. You attract them by offering great value resource. So on the website standpoint, that's going to mean having a blog resource center, and that's going to be where you can offer. It's not your product area, because that's ultimately what you sell, but this is, applications of that. This is industry resources. This is how-tos and stories that work with the solutions that you provide. So it's offering value. So again, that might mean that your attraction content can be your resource center. That also might be on your website where you have.
Sorry, bring yours back up. I thought you could do two at the same time. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you can't?
Maybe not. My bad. I'll put it in the side. It was just an example of the resource center. Sorry about that.
Okay, not a problem. Let's see if we can get that in there. Okay. And so attraction is basically offering something of value there from your website standpoint. And so you want to be getting something out consistently. Again, I always talk about, people, what are you doing on your blog resource center? I mean, you need to be getting something out, if you can, weekly, and definitely more than once a month. But you want to increase that footprint online of quality, resource-rich content. And one of the great places to start are, what are the common questions that people ask you about your product or service or their problems? What problems do you hear? Talk about those, answer those, give details on how your service works, your product works. And it's not the selly sell, but it's the value. This is, what was going on, the story behind that. So content is important at the top of your funnel, so that people have things to search for online and find you. When they come over there, there's value there. So that's at the top of the funnel from the website standpoint. And of course, your website needs to be mobile friendly, responsive, so that, because in search engines, they'll ding you nowadays. If it's not, you want them to have a great experience on any device that they're on. More people are searching on mobile than they are on desktop. So make sure it's mobile friendly. That's your home base, your website. And it starts with great resource-rich content. So that's my attraction piece. So if you're going to talk about attraction from a social media standpoint, you want to dive into that one.
Sure, absolutely. And attracting does start with planning. Like, I think that's one of the only differences, like, from our funnels, is the first step is definitely planning. But from a social media standpoint, if you're using these resources, and as you said, creating this blog, answering those questions, I love Marcus Sheridan's quote, they ask, you answer. So the questions you're being asked more than 2 times, that's the kinds of blog content that you should be answering. And it doesn't always have to be specific about your business. It has to be about your personas and how you can help them solve a goal. So if you're ultimately helping somebody solve, maybe it's a time goal, don't have enough time, and you're helping them solve that, you want to be talking about things that you can help them do to solve this problem. So if you're helping them solve time in one other area, you can also help them talk about how they can save time in other areas via blogs. Maybe it's, I'll use our example on ourselves. So we're talking, we help people save time. That's one of the main reasons that they're choosing us, and the expertise that we have in online marketing. And so we use a blog, like 5 apps that you can use to help you save time in your day. Right. So these kinds of posts that you're putting out on your blog is the exact kinds of things that you want to be putting out on your social media. And you don't have to write it all. You can curate. We use the formula 10-4-1. And I use this every time I'm planning out posts, and you can easily rock out 30 days worth of posts in about an hour. You'll get faster with it. But the 10 is other people's content. That is related to your industry and the personas, pain points that you're trying to solve. So other people's content. And what this will allow you to do, and you can find sources of information that you trust, and that's always kind of your go-to, and that kind of goes along with who you are as a company and what you value. So we like sharing Seth Godin's content, Simon Sinek's content, Social Media Examiner's content on a frequent basis, because though they're constantly producing the content that we know that our audience that's trying to look for answers that they'd be asking us, they would also be searching to these sources. So find the sources that your personas are going to be looking for, and you be the curator of that content on your platform. So that's your 10. Okay, so 20 of your 30 days worth of posts is going to be other people's content that you could have wrote, but they're already writing it. It's really good content. You can share it on your page. The 4 is blog content. So your own resources, your own tips, your own value-added pieces of content, not salesy content, value-added pieces of content that you're using and planning out your posts. So plan those 4 out. And then your 1 is your soft sale or the ask, is what we call it the hand raise or the ask here. And what that is saying, okay, if you're looking to save time and you need to find out where you're spending time, where it's being wasted, and you want to sign up for a free review, fill out this form and we'll give you this free review. Or here's our download. It could be your soft sale or ask could be just asking for their email address. It doesn't have to be asking for a sale, if you know what I mean. So it could be just download our resource guide on the top 10 mistakes when spending your time on social media, if you're still focused around saving that time aspect. So when you're planning out your funnel, if you will, and you know your personas and who they are and what their pain points are, then have a clear focus for the month or for that 6-month period, the year, whatever you want to focus on, and then plan out your post. Then equally distribute them on social where it makes the most sense for that message to take place. So Facebook may be a little bit conversational style to sharing that article, a little bit longer post, putting the link in there, mixing in some media with the links. Twitter is going to be the information with the short links. Less is more on Twitter. LinkedIn is going to be very, very professional. So the way you go about sharing it then, think of who your audience is, where they're going to be hanging out for these pieces of content, and then tone them appropriately for that platform. And remember to then drive people back to your site and listen, engage, see what posts are working from that, and then rinse and repeat, if you will.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So basically we're getting great content out there, and we're believing mm-hmm. that content will stir some questions, some activity, some engagement. And that's kind of that second point out of that we want to be ready to respond to. And, using social media, the key is today is to recognize that it's a two-way street, that social media is. You're putting some information out there and hoping to get a response and engagement. So when they do, then you want to respond in a timely fashion. And so, on Facebook, that's critically important because if people don't interact with your material, then they're going to see less of that in the newsfeed because they don't just see everything. And so engagement is offering timely responses. So there's a question, there's a comment, there's something there. It's engaging back. And I've seen some brands do this well. I gave an example here in the presentation last week that was with a hotel in San Diego, and they put out some information about the craft beer scene in San Diego. So again, it was a resource post about a San Diego attraction that people could attend, and then somebody commented on that and said, "Oh, I'm going to miss this one, but I need to get back to that sometime." And they could have left it at that, but no, they chose to respond, to engage. And they engaged with the person, and had a follow-up question. So there's a little conversation that happens there. That builds some equity. It builds some loyalty. It builds some trust, which is important both for that one-to-one connection, but also for the social community that is watching that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, that's people want to feel like they know the other person, like they're a friend. And you're going to connect more with things that you can both relate to and just that human nature versus just sharing article after article after article. Yep.
Okay. So bringing your 10-4-1 back, your 4 kind of fits into my capture there, and that my third one down. Mm-hmm. So we got attract, engage, capture, which is, some information that is from our site, some of our great content. And then we're inviting people to come back to our website here. And so in that, so basically as we're moving back to the website, then they're on our site, they're reviewing content, and that's where we want to have a soft lead capture. And again, for me, I think this is the number one most missed aspect on websites today is the soft lead capture. Because people, what is it? The stat is something like 70% of first-time visitors may not visit your site again. Okay, so they're there for a little bit of time. So you want to offer them something of value. They've had a point of contact with you. They may not be ready to buy, but can you offer them something of value? Is there if it's B2C retail, maybe there's a coupon code or a coupon. If it's B2B, maybe it's a free ebook or a access to some type of video that you put together, some type of resource that is not your product or service, but is related to it, is connected to it, that offers value, that is enough value that they want to give you in their name and email address to sign up to access that. Okay, so that's the key part, is continuing that conversation, offering something of value so that you can get them onto a list where you can continue the conversation, email marketing, text marketing, that type of thing.
Right, exactly. You have to give them a reason to not have to search you out again, I guess. So first time they're coming to your website, they're looking for an answer to a problem, and hopefully they found something on your website that's helping them answer that problem and then stay connected to you. I definitely can relate to the person that doesn't always go back to websites. I will read their blog, maybe their social pages, but I'm not really going back through and like scouring the website. Even people that I do business with a lot, I'm just not going back there. I'm wanting them to send the information to me. So the more that you can just kind of get in that habit of, the sending the information to that individual, they're going to be thankful for it if it's good content.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's critically important. You want to get them over there. So then we're kind of moving into the aspect of the email marketing and drip marketing. So it's the way to follow up with the conversation with them and to nurture that relationship. And I think that's what's critical here. People are still reading email. They're get in the inbox. We're all still using email. I don't know anybody that has stopped using email. I mean, we use other services as well, but email is still a business tool, business communication piece. And so you can begin to build rapport, build trust, offer value and resourcing then via email as well. They're going to check their inbox. I mean, just think of the ways you have to contact someone. Your website they have to go to. Your website doesn't seek them out, but it's your home base with the best content on it. But social can find them. By posting something in social, it can appear to them without them searching for it. And even with email, if you can get them on your list, then you can reach them without them thinking about you. But that's a way to stay top of mind, to get to follow up and further build that rapport and trust. You can share some of your next greatest content along the way, things that the new things you've done in the email marketing. You walk them kind of down that path towards taking away any questions they have, answering those questions, building the trust and rapport, so that when that time comes for them to be ready to purchase, they're thinking about you.
Yeah, and your emails can drive people back to your website after. So a lot of times I'll read blogs or drip campaigns, and ultimately their next offer, I'm still going back to the website to get it, but it's capturing my attention via the email, and it's keeping a constant reminder. And a lot of times that goes back to with integrating your marketing, making sure that your email is all value added stuff if you want to get them back to your website. Sometimes if you're e-commerce, it could be sales related to, but making it really simple to do business with you. So maybe if it's an e-commerce, it's just giving them the highlighted products. If it's something that you're selling or a thought, that maybe you're a thought leader and you're sending out that information, like Darren Hardy does a great job of this. I've been following a lot of his posts and been meaning to purchase his next system, and he constantly gently reminds me that I have not purchased it, but also giving me little nuggets of information along the way that's making me skim through that email and realize, oh yeah, I still want to go back and complete that purchase for the next thing. So just adding that extra level in there, and then you can still drive them back to your website, even though you're doing a drip campaign.
Yep. Okay. And so, I mean, now we've kind of talked about these components. So you got great content on your website, and you're active on social media. You're doing some social sharing of great content, of your content, bringing them back to the website. There is some soft lead capture, which is the number one most missed component on websites typically. Then you're moving them into the email marketing funnel. And I think, now you tell me what you think, but I think that email is often the best place to make the final pitch after you've done this relationship building for them to consider making the purchase, as opposed to even social media.
I 100% agree. And I know April, when she was at the doing her presentation, April Havens Woodcock, she talks a lot about email marketing, and she has a lot of solid, good information on this. I'll post a link to her stuff here. But she was talking about this as well. And it is because you've already built that relationship with them, and it seems more personal than sales pitch. So it seems like a person talking to another person. And your website can do this as well, but not as in an intimate way, I think, as email. Plus, an email, you're typically giving the value first. Then you're saying, if you like this, you're going to love this. And so it's an easier sell. And I think it's definitely a lot easier to kind of make that transition that way. Even if you have kind of we have stages on our website on inbound marketing process, and we call it the first thing that you're giving away, is your value-added pieces of content. So it's just adding value, asking for nothing in return. The second step is that trust-building piece of content. So it's giving a little bit more on a subject, but then doing your soft pitch a little bit in there for finally the hand raise piece. So it's kind of a 3-step gradual process into filtering out your leads to your marketing qualified leads to then ultimately your sales qualified leads. So
Yep.
kind of like panning for gold a little bit, you filter out people.
Do you have any resources on that? Is there any?
Yeah. Yep, I do. So
let's pull that from the resource center. Let's put that in here. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. So we have the.
So you can replace mine there so that.
Sure. Pull the resource center here.
But this is what we're talking about with integrating, folks. It's these things working in tandem. You can't just do social. You shouldn't just have an isolated email marketing platform. Your website shouldn't just be, hey, we've got it done and that's it. I mean, it should be a evolving resource center. Again, that word that you can use with your social, that helps grow your email list, that offers you content that you take your email readers back to. I mean, so these are the interaction pieces, and so they need to work together. And that working together, in my mind, that helps you as well. That's some of the synergies, but it's also some of the efficiencies, because if you have great content in your website and you're trying to put together some email marketing campaigns, you can, as Jessica talked about, you can refer, back to some of those. You can give them a little outline and teaser and direct them to that, so they click through from the email back to the website article.
It's not letting me add this in here, unfortunately. Is it showing up as a blank screen to you?
Blank, yeah.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, maybe it's because I didn't X mine out. I don't know. So I X'd it now. Do you have a box to try again or not?
Let me try it again here. Let's try it now.
So I think that's some of the critical keys. Let's just drop some nuggets here for the different pieces. In the attraction stage, I did a blog post recently on some of the online marketing in the attraction phase kind of keys that you can do there. So that's a link that if you want to listen to more or you want to check out some ideas, I go into some pieces there. And if nothing else, I guess you can drop it on the right.
Yeah, let me try one other link because we actually have it in.
We're going to have to get the 1041 in here as well.
Yeah, they're all in that resource center. And then this kind of talks about separating from lead to marketing qualified to sales qualified. And here, this has both. But that resource center, let me pin that one. That one has all of them where you can just download right from there for with and without email addresses. So some of them you can just grab without an email address.
Okay. One thing we didn't really talk about, we kind of assumed, we got to back up and not assume that, is with email marketing, there should be some automation, some kind of campaigns created with this, so that it's not just one-off every time, but there's a series, there's a plan in your email marketing that comes from your lead capture. So somebody's captured a soft lead, they download your ebook, you're not done. You gave them the ebook, but you want to opt them into a list so that you can continue to give them some value over the course of time, and that can be a automated system to deliver those over the course of time. Now, do you want to say any more about that, or any tools?
No, I think the most important thing is when you're asking the questions that you're constantly learning who is your persona. So if you're sending information and kind of what stage that they're in what we call the buyer's journey, so whether they're new to your information or if they're kind of already maybe even a customer, that you're sending the appropriate information. So they can, when you put this automation in place, it allows you to kind of understand who your customer is and sending them the appropriate kind of drip campaigns. So I'll use an example. So we work with some adult education clients and or universities, I should say, and they're targeting very specific personas. So one is like social work. They're looking someone that's in social work and they're looking to get, their degree in social work and their master's. Another one though, that they're also serving is a business professional that's looking to get their business degree and their MBA. So two different people that are ultimately purchasing higher education. Well, their motivators are completely different. So the social work person, the reason why they're going back to school is completely different typically than the reason that what we call the persona Bob business, the business person is going back to school. So when we're sending out drip campaigns, we're sending out different pieces of content according to the type of person that they are, because the type of content that they're going to want that's going to relate with them is going to be two different completely different sets of content because it's speaking directly to that persona. So I think as you're putting out those drip campaigns, it's important to remember that you may be talking to different types of individuals with different buying triggers. So the more that you can find out about the person at the very beginning, not to say you have to have a big, huge form, but you need to have their name, their email, and then maybe ask them one other kind of qualifying question that allow you to understand who this person is a little bit deeper so you can put them into the right drip campaign. This is going to help strengthen your relationship a lot faster with them. Yes.
All right. I think so. Again, I got to probably be sensitive to our time. We could keep going on and on about this, but that's the foundation we're talking about here. I mean, it's taking a look at your website and, is it mobile responsive? Are you offering great content? Are you offering great value? Are you getting things out there on a regular basis? And consider that resource center concept. And then, with your social sharing, it shouldn't just be all push. It shouldn't be just all your content. Are you sharing other people's great content, some things that you're finding that your audience can learn from, can enjoy, and then do you have some ways to get them back to your website? On the website, you have some of those follow-ups, soft call to action mechanisms, email marketing, and to nurture that relationship further. So it's these things working in sync together in synergistic fashion.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Excellent. So, as we wind down, any final points that you want to make before you kind of introduce our topic next week?
Sure. So, no, I think you really hit on them. It's really takes some time. This is why kind of when we're talking about starting with the end in mind, that it does take that planning at the very beginning. Think about what your goals really are, because then it's going to allow you to kind of get really focused in on how you approach this situation, what you're building, what kind of campaigns you're setting up, and what social platforms you're on. It's important to try out some of the other tools. Mike had mentioned this at a social media conference that we were at, trying out and being aware of the other tools that are out there, but kind of staying in the ones that are working with you, because online marketing, when you're integrating this all together, it can become overwhelming very quickly. But it doesn't have to be.
Right.
The more that you can simplify it and get really focused that, does this align with my goal or not? It'll make it a lot easier to decide what you do now and what you may be able to add on if you have the flex capability of adding that into what you're doing. Just get focused in on your goals and make sure that you're driving people back to your home base at the end of the day. There we go. Consistently driving traffic with fresh content. It's working like a charm. Great to hear that. That's what we're talking about today, and exactly. Pulling those pieces together. So this is a topic that I love to talk about. We can keep going,
but we must end to respect people's time here and get them excited about next week. So let's talk Twitter next week, right?
Yeah, so next week, right here on Blab, I'm going to share the link here in just a moment. Or Mike, if you have it handy, maybe plug it in there. But we are going to be back here 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Magnet Marketers, talking about the changes that are happening and happened with Twitter. So Twitter has rolled out some new features for businesses, and what is this going to mean for your business and how you can use these new tools that Twitter has. So powerful new tools. I can't talk, which I'm super excited about. Lots with the demographics, lots with the dashboard that they just rolled out. We're going to be talking about what those are and how you can integrate it into your business. So we hope to see you all back next week, Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Blab. Thanks for posting the link, Mike.
All right. And actually, no, I got to post the right link. How about that?
These Blab links. But we thank all of you for joining us today and hope you have a fantastic rest of your week, becoming a magnet, not a bullhorn with your marketing. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. It's always good to connect. We'll look forward to seeing you again next week.
All right. See ya.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.